Welcome. Today we're embarking on an exploration into a truly foundational idea from A Course in Miracles. It's Lesson 290.
Ah, yes, a powerful one.
It really is. The lesson states, quite simply, my present happiness is all I see. Our aim today is to unpack what that means, practically speaking.
And how you can start to experience that truth, whether you're dealing with, say, workplace stress or the day-to-day of running your own business.
Because, let's be honest, that statement feels bold,
Yeah.
almost counterintuitive sometimes.
It does, considering how much time our minds can spend caught up in worries or replaying the past.
Exactly. So this lesson is like a direct challenge to that habit. It suggests happiness isn't something we find out there.
It suggests it's already here, our default state, really, if we're not actively looking at something else.
Okay, let's start by reading the lesson itself. It lays the groundwork for our whole exploration.
Sounds good. I'll read the first part.
Go ahead.
Lesson 290. My present happiness is all I see. Unless I look upon what is not there, my present happiness is all I see. Eyes that begin to open see at last. And I would have Christ's vision come to me this very day. What I perceive without God's own correction for the sight I made is frightening and painful to behold. Yet I would not allow my mind to be deceived by the belief the dream I made is real an instant longer. This the day I seek my present happiness and look on nothing else except the thing I seek.
With this resolve, I come to you and ask your strength to hold me up today while I but seek to do your will. You cannot fail to hear me, Father. What I ask have you already given me, and I'm sure that I will see my happiness today.
Wow. That first sentence just cuts right through, doesn't it? Unless I look upon what is not there.
It immediately pinpoints the source of our unhappiness. It's not the present moment itself.
It's our focus. Our focus
Yeah.
on, well, illusions. Things that aren't actually happening right now.
Right. The Course is highlighting this core perceptual error we make. We think the pain, the stress, the anxiety is in the situation. But if you trace it back, really look at what your mind is doing.
You find you're investing huge amounts of energy in things that are, as the lesson says, not there.
Like spinning these detailed stories about what might go wrong tomorrow or next year.
Or holding on to hurts from years ago, letting them dictate how you feel right now. That's looking upon what is not there.
It's interesting, in a corporate setting, there's a necessary element of planning. You have to look ahead.
Of course.
But there's a distinct line, isn't there, between strategic foresight based on data and probability.
And getting lost in fear-based projection. Just running endless disaster scenarios in your head.
That's the key difference. One is productive preparation. The other is just mental torture, really.
And it completely blinds you to what is actually present. The simple good things.
Like the warmth of the sun, maybe a child's laugh down the street, the fact that you're breathing. Things that are undeniably real now.
But the mind, the ego-driven mind, doesn't value those things much. It's convinced survival lies in controlling the future or fixing the past.
So when you find yourself stuck in those loops, the what-ifs, the replaying of old conversations, the anxieties about what someone thinks,
You're actively choosing that illusion over your present happiness. That's the trade-off we often make without realizing it.
the lesson invites us to become conscious of that trade, to catch the mind in the act of projecting.
And to see how much energy it consumes. It's exhausting.
So for you listening, when you notice this happening, maybe you're worrying about a presentation or replaying an argument.
The first step isn't to fight the thought. That often just gives it more energy.
Right. It's more about creating a little space, just pausing, maybe taking one conscious breath.
That pause is powerful. It interrupts the momentum of the worry.
And in that tiny gap, you can choose to redirect your attention. Not forcefully, but gently.
Bring it back to something immediate, something tangible. The feeling of your feet on the floor.
The sound of the traffic outside, the texture of your clothes, anything that's undeniably here.
Grounding yourself in the physical present pulls you out of the mental projection. It's a choice for reality over the thought storm.
And that choice, that shift in allegiance from the ego's drama to the present moment.
That ties directly into the lesson's call for Christ's vision. Eyes that begin to open see at last.
Christ's vision. Sometimes that sounds quite abstract, but the lesson treats it very practically.
It's a way of seeing, a corrected perception. It means looking past the immediate judgments, the fears, the appearances.
The sight I made, as the lesson puts it.
Exactly. Looking past that to see a deeper reality, a connected reality, an innocent reality.
So let's take a concrete example. Say, I'm feeling frustrated with a family member. Their behavior is pushing my buttons.
Okay. Common scenario.
My initial uncorrected sight is judgment. They're being unreasonable. They're trying to annoy me. That's the sight I made.
Filtered through your past experiences and ego defenses.
Christ's vision in that moment would ask me to look beyond the behavior, to remember the person underneath.
To remember that beneath the surface actions, their core self desires peace, desires love, just like me.
It's seeing their light, their innocence, even when their actions seem difficult.
And that shift, that intentional about face, as the outline called it, it's not automatic. It takes real willingness.
Oh, absolutely. The ego fights it tooth and nail.
Because the ego thrives on judgment and separation. It interprets letting go of irritation as losing, as being weak.
I can relate to that in a business context. Maybe a partner lets me down on a crucial deadline.
Right. The immediate reaction can be intense. Frustration, maybe anger. How could they? This messes everything up.
You feel that surge of justification. I have every right to be upset. The ego loves that feeling of righteousness.
It does. It feels solid, validating. But then the lesson comes to mind, the invitation to see differently.
And you literally feel that internal tug of war.
Definitely. There's the part that wants to hold on to the grievance, that feels entitled to it, and then there's the quiet voice asking for a different perspective.
So what happens when you consciously choose to step back, to apply Christ's vision to that partner?
Well, first, there might be a moment of internal awkwardness. The ego is still screaming its case.
But you choose not to listen to it.
Right. I try to see the person. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they're dealing with things I don't know about. It doesn't excuse the deadline issue, necessarily.
But it changes your internal state.
Completely. The heat goes out of it. The intense pressure dissipates. I can still address the practical problem, the missed deadline, but I'm doing it from a place of calm clarity and not reactive anger.
So instead of an accusatory email, maybe it's a conversation starting with, hey, looks like things got off track. How can we sort this out?
Precisely. It shifts the dynamic from conflict to collaboration. Even if the other person is initially defensive, my calm can help de-escalate.
It's like you're operating from a different instruction manual. You're responding based on the Holy Spirit's guidance, not the ego's script.
And that can be quite noticeable to others. People get used to our patterns.
They do. They expect the usual defenses, the familiar arguments, the predictable reactions.
So when you suddenly respond with peace or understanding where they expected conflict, it can be confusing for them initially.
They might even try harder to provoke the old reaction because it's what they know how to engage with.
That's a real phenomenon. We have to be willing to hold that space of peace, that Christ's vision, even if the external world doesn't immediately reflect it back.
Our steadiness becomes the anchor. It introduces a different possibility into the situation.
And eventually it can influence the whole interaction towards calm. That's choosing happiness, choosing peace over being right or winning the argument.
Now, this lesson falls within the workbook section titled, What is the Holy Spirit? That context is important.
It connects this practice of seeing happiness directly to the Holy Spirit's function.
And it introduces the idea of rest, not just physical rest, but a kind of mental cessation.
Stopping the fight, stopping the internal battle with our own thoughts, our own projections.
It's about choosing to trust. Trusting that guidance, the Holy Spirit, which continually affirms that happiness is our natural state. It's not something we earn through struggle.
That idea of rest can be really challenging, especially if you're, say, driven, ambitious, used to solving problems through effort.
Right. The habit is to double down on mental effort when things get tough. We think the struggle is the solution.
If I just worry about this enough, plan enough, control enough, then I'll be safe, then I'll be happy.
But the lesson suggests the opposite. The effort, the mental striving itself, blocks the happiness that's already here.
So let's take a stressful situation. Maybe a significant project at work hits a major snag unexpectedly.
Okay. The immediate default reaction is often
Mm.
panic or at least high anxiety.
The mind floods with thoughts. This is a disaster. Whose fault is this? How do I fix this right now?
You feel this immense pressure to force a solution to regain control immediately.
And that panic state actually hinders clear thinking. It leads to rushed decisions, often based on fear.
So the concept of rest here isn't about giving up on the project.
Not at all. It's about shifting the internal approach. First, acknowledging the feeling, okay, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling pressure.
Naming it without judgment.
Yes. And then consciously releasing the urgent need to fix it from that state of panic.
Maybe saying internally something like, I'm gripping this problem too tightly right now. I'm going to hand this over for a moment, step back, and ask for guidance.
It's a deliberate letting go of the mental reins, trusting that a better solution, a clearer path, will emerge from a state of calm.
It's surrender, but not resignation. Surrendering the fearful way of handling it.
And that act of surrender creates space, mental space, room for the Holy Spirit's perspective, for intuition, for genuine guidance to come through.
Because the best answers rarely come when we're clenched with anxiety.
They don't. We have to trust that the perfect response is available, and our job is to quiet the mental noise enough to perceive it.
This willingness to let go, especially when control feels absolutely essential, that's often the crux of the practice.
It really is. Even with intense emotions like grief after a loss or deep disappointment, the invitation remains the same.
It's not about denying the feeling. The grief is real. The disappointment is real.
But the lesson asks, can you experience this feeling without letting it completely define your entire reality? Without letting it erase the underlying peace?
Can you hold both? Can you feel the sadness, but also notice the sunlight? Feel the loss, but still recognize the love that remains.
It's like acknowledging the storm cloud without forgetting the vast, unchanging sky behind it. The cloud is passing through, the sky remains.
That requires a certain spiritual maturity, a capacity to hold complexity.
And finding small anchors helps.
Yeah.
Little moments of present reality, especially on difficult days.
Like you mentioned earlier, the taste of coffee, a moment of connection with someone, the feeling of a cool breeze.
These aren't distractions from the pain. They're reminders of the breadth of reality. They remind you that more is happening than just the difficult thought or emotion.
They ground you back into the present, which is fundamentally neutral and supportive. Unlike the scary world, the ego projects.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about our internal landscape, but what about when the suffering seems external?
Right. How does Christ's vision apply when we witness pain in the world? News reports, someone struggling in front of us, animal suffering.
This is where people often worry about spiritual bypassing, using these ideas to somehow ignore or minimize real suffering.
That's a valid concern. But true Christ's vision, as the Course presents it, isn't denial at all. It's the opposite.
It asks us to look directly at the suffering, the hardship, the conflict, the pain, not to turn away.
But, and this is the crucial part,
To refuse the ego's interpretation of that suffering, the interpretation that says the pain is the ultimate reality, that the person suffering is separate, broken, or defined solely by that pain.
so you see the difficulty, the physical or emotional distress.
But you look through it with Christ's vision to the shared spirit, to the inherent innocence that, on a deeper level, cannot be truly harmed by the events of the world.
This doesn't mean the body isn't in pain or the situation isn't difficult. It changes our response.
Yes, it prevents us from responding out of fear, outrage, or despair reactions that often just add more distress or lead to paralysis.
If we're consumed by the horror or the injustice from an ego perspective, we can become overwhelmed, unable to help effectively.
But if we view it through Christ's vision, our perspective shifts. We see the shared need for love, the shared vulnerability, the call for help beneath the surface appearances.
And our response can then come from a place of grounded compassion, of peace.
Which makes us far more helpful. We move from reacting to responding.
Can you unpack that difference a bit more? Reacting versus responding.
Sure, reacting often comes from that triggered ego place. It might look like snapping, blaming, shutting down, getting lost in hopeless despair. It adds to the conflict.
Responding, on the other hand, comes after that pause, after accessing that inner calm, that Christ vision.
It might look like patient listening, offering practical, calm assistance, simply holding a space of non-judgmental presence and support.
It doesn't get caught up in the drama of the situation.
Exactly. You remain anchored in peace, so you don't get drained or triggered in the same way. You become a safe harbor, a source of stability.
And offering that kind of presence, that steady support, that deep listening, these are profoundly loving actions.
They introduce peace directly into a situation that seems devoid of it. It demonstrates an alternative to fear.
Which reinforces that course idea, perception is projection.
What we hold inside, love, peace, happiness, inevitably colors how we see the outside world.
If we cultivate present happiness within, we start to perceive the world through that lens. It doesn't mean challenges disappear.
But our experience of them changes. We see opportunities for connection, for extending love, where before we only saw threats or problems. The world starts to reflect back the peace we're holding.
It's not magic, it's physics of the mind. You see what you look for, what you project.
Okay, this leads us to a very practical tool, something everyone listening can use to make Lesson 290 more real in their daily life.
The regular check-in.
Yes, it's simple, but consistent practice makes it powerful.
It's about creating deliberate moments throughout the day to pause and notice where your attention is.
Maybe when you switch tasks or walk from one room to another, or just when you feel your mood starting to dip.
Just take a moment, a breath.
And ask yourself a gentle question. Am I noticing my present happiness now, or am I caught in fears or judgments?
The tone here is crucial. It's not an accusation.
Absolutely not. It's non-judgmental awareness. If the answer is, oops, yeah, I was totally lost in worrying about that email.
That's okay. The point isn't self-criticism.
The point is simply the noticing. Recognizing, I've inadvertently chosen to look upon what is not there.
And that recognition gives you the opportunity to gently redirect, to choose again.
To bring your focus back, even for just a second, to something real and present, back to the possibility of peace that's always available.
It's like a little course correction for the mind throughout the day.
A kind reminder, a way to reset your intention to see the happiness that is your inheritance.
You could try it in the morning to set your intention, maybe at lunchtime or before bed to release the day.
The frequency isn't the main thing. It's the gentle, repeated returning to the present, choosing happiness over illusion.
So wrapping up our exploration of Lesson 290, my present happiness is all I see.
The first key takeaway is that happiness isn't something out there to find. It's right here, right now, whenever we stop focusing our attention on unreal worries, future projections, or past grievances.
Stop looking at what is not there, and happiness is simply what remains.
Second, practicing Christ's vision is an active, conscious shift. It means choosing to look past fear, judgment, and appearances to see the underlying innocence and connection in ourselves and everyone else. It's hard work sometimes because the ego resists.
But it's the gateway to genuine peace and release from conflict.
Third, the idea of rest is about letting go of that constant mental striving and struggle driven by the ego. It's about trusting the Holy Spirit, surrendering the perceived need to control everything through fear, and allowing calm guidance to emerge.
Releasing resistance allows peace to flow in.
And finally, this corrected vision allows us to engage with suffering, our own and others, not from a place of fear or denial, but from grounded, peaceful compassion. This makes us truly helpful, agents of healing rather than adding to the conflict.
So the core practice for you today is that simple, regular check-in. Pause frequently.
And gently ask yourself, am I seeing my happiness now? Use it as your reminder to return your attention to the peace that's always present, waiting for your recognition.
As you go about your day, maybe ponder this. If your present happiness truly became all you could see, what would happen to fear?
What place could scarcity or attack possibly hold in a mind focused solely on its inherent joy? Committing to this vision starts to dissolve the dream of suffering.
Thank you for joining us in this exploration today. If you have questions or want to share your experience with the practice, please feel free to email us. Just spell out the letters ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org.
And you can find more discussions like this, plus community content, on TikTok and YouTube. Our handle is at the World Harmony Project.
We'll be back to explore Lesson 291 next time. Until then, keep gently reminding yourself to look for the happiness that is already here.
Be well and see the peace in your present moment.